Well, welcome to today's Digital Lounge. I'm Mark, and in this short episode, we're exploring how AI and automation are reshaping one of the most important growth levers for any business: customer onboarding and retention. In his latest blog, From Hello to Loyalty: How AI and Automation Revolutionize Customer Retention Management and Onboarding, bit of a mouthful, Tom Cadman, Digital Transformation Director at Crimson, highlighted how smarter onboarding, proactive retention tactics, and hyper personalization can turn new signups into lifelong loyal customers. But beyond the headlines, what does this mean in practice? What challenges do organizations face when scaling AI in customer journeys? And how can leaders balance compliance, human connection, and innovation? That's exactly what we'll be unpacking from today's podcast. And welcome, Tom. It's been a while since you last joined us on the Digital Lounge. I hope you're keeping well. You've been out and about, and I think you've been over in Wichita as well, haven't you?
I have, Mark. Yes, over want to see one of our K-12 school district clients. Yeah, so as our education expands from higher education into academies and academy trusts, but then also in the US, there's 13,000 school districts out there.
Unbelievable. Okay, well, so we're talking today about loyalty and, of course, AI. It's a consistent theme. I know our customers are talking to us a lot about this at the moment. So in your blog, you suggest starting small with low risk tasks like auto responses. But when you're advising organizations, how do you help them decide which use cases are the best starting points and avoid AI for AI's sake?
I think, Mark, the obvious one is you've got to be the trust element around trusting what AI is suggesting. So if you've just got the sort of element of a chatbot working away, where is it getting its source of information from in terms of what you're presenting back, whether it's to an applicant, whether it's a student, whether it's a customer, a lead, etc. It's about recognizing the information you've got that it's going to utilize to bring that data back. Hence, we say start small, because you need to look at your audit of your data sources, the cleanliness, is it pertinent, is it relevant and compliant and all that good stuff, because you don't want to mislead people. Hence, when we start small in that context, you don't want to just suddenly pointing at your website and off it goes and it's trying to pull information back, but you want to try and audit it and validate and check it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting. I mean, we're seeing this. I'm sure we're all witnessing this on LinkedIn. Lots of people are using AI, but it's almost becoming impersonal because it's not got that context of the customer. And a lot of people at the moment are talking about hyper personalization and using those hyper personalized journeys to drive loyalty. What in your view does good personalization actually look like in practice, and where do you see most organizations falling short today?
The challenge, if I take, obviously I do a lot of work with universities, higher education. If we think about somebody applies for university, they go through, rather than just receiving back a bland, you've obviously received an offer, or downside, you've received a rejection, unfortunately. It's how do you personalize that communication back so it's relevant to the student or the applicant. And what you're trying to look at is, can I do anything in terms of, I don't know, mining their personal statement, looking at their hobbies, their interests, etc., and try and tailor not just the offer, but the follow-up and the wraparound in terms of, so it's relevant to them. And guess what is that university offering that might make them different to another university down the road in terms of maybe the social life, the events that are going on and things of that nature. It's trying to bring that sort of richness to the cover from that side. But obviously the challenge then is obviously you're trying to look at what is that, if it's a personal statement or it's their hobbies or interests, you're trying to make it relevant and pertinent, and it's trying to balance that out in terms of how you get that information out of that input.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's that kind of human touch, isn't it? So
Yeah.
thinking about that in terms of retention, so clearly AI is very good at spotting signals within data and can spot churn signals potentially. But how do you recommend blending automation with that right human intervention so that retention efforts feel supportive rather than intrusive? And I know a lot of people are worried about the kind of ethical concerns of what we have here.
There's two things there, Mark. In terms of retention specifically, or that element, it's advising internal staff that there's a risk or a threat of somebody dropping out or leaving, or a customer going away, as distinct from you're doing something upfront where you're talking directly to the customer. It's intervention strategies to assist your workforce internally to make sure they can do it. And that, dare I say the phrase, I'll now talk about Microsoft, and we're a Microsoft partner. Microsoft call it co-pilot for a reason. It's not autopilot, it's co-pilot. It's that assistant working alongside you. And it's how you utilize that to help you do your job. So then you can intervene, or the account managers, if it's an account manager talking to a customer, or it's maybe in university, it's admissions talking to an applicant, or it's student services talking to an existing student. It's how you guide them to provide that touch back and speak to the individuals, rather than necessarily get into a bland automatic send out an email or a text or an SMS. It's trying to put that guidance in for the people to spot those early signals and guide them in that context. So it's a blended act of AI, but it's data insights alongside data and AI. And the art form then is understanding your data sets. So again, in terms of a university, for example, if I was looking in terms of a student risk and retention there, you're looking not just at things like their attendance, their learner analytics, how they're going on with their coursework, but you're also looking at softer signals about maybe there's email communication, maybe there's people recording notes if they're talking to academics, etc. You're looking at all those sorts of different signals to permit back to come up with, dare I say, a risk score. And that risk score then might guide somebody in terms of what they're trying to achieve, then in terms of prompting people to the threats, etc., of somebody leaving.
Yeah. And I suppose this kind of goes on to the guide rails, I suppose, with this. We clearly, if you look at the timeline of AI over just the last few years with large language models, it's an exponential curve, isn't it? And you highlight the importance of clients compliance and trust within your article, your blog. But as AI use grows, what governance or guardrails do you think leaders need to put in place to ensure adoption doesn't outpace responsibility?
Well, the guardrails, Mark, is that it's governance around it. It's understanding those AI models. As I said earlier, understanding the data sources that you are mining with those language models. Where are they pulling their information from? Is it managed? Is it governed? Have you validated? Have you checked it? Have you run, dare I say, pilots, POCs, to check and validate that what the models are suggesting and what that are basically aligned to what you would expect? And you can obviously keep and do those regular audits. Now, best practice here, you still need to test, even with a large language model. You need to continually test it, evolve, refine the model, and dare I say, the compliance also. If you are suggesting things, you need to make sure that the reference of where it got that information from is being brought forward as well, so you can check it, especially if you're going out into the public web and you're pulling data from back out there. You've got to be very, very careful. Ideally, what you want to try and do it within your own managed data sets and made data sources, rather than necessarily going out into full-blown ChatGPT and OpenAI, and it's going out into the overarching web. There's a place for that, but it needs to be managed.
And in terms of just about ChatGPT, so I've read some research recently, and it's quite surprising the number of councils in this instance, but it might be the case elsewhere, I'd imagine, the number that are freely allowing their staff to use ChatGPT. And it seems to me that this is kind of opening up a whole new frontier of shadow IT. I was just interested on your views on that.
There is, Mark. There is always a risk because people don't realise it. If you're asking ChatGPT in the public domain, guess what? It's learning from what you're asking. It's using that in itself to bring that information back and then using its answer sets. Whereas if you look at it in context of Microsoft have been quite clever, actually. They've got their version of OpenAI within their own managed data sets. And obviously the governance model in there is stepped within your Microsoft tenancy. So if your Office 365 or your Microsoft 365 environment, under the covers, you've got an OpenAI instance nothing. If you're asking in that world, Copilot, and it's using ChatGPT, it's isolated to your estate and your estate only. So it's not leaking out into the wider public OpenAI and ChatGPT data sets that are out there. So
Yeah.
your language models are controlled. Yeah. But you're right. No, don't be wrong. I'll be honest. I still use ChatGPT occasionally alongside Copilot. It's always, I use it as a quick check sometimes to validate the two models to make sure I'm actually getting the right value from the engines, or whether it's other, whether it's Gemini with others. There's all these others out there. It's understanding the comparative. But the key thing, if you're doing it in terms of customers, you need to make sure and you're want to present back to your customer what you believe is the right answers based on your data sets. Yeah. Yeah.
And it looks like I think I saw an announcement the other day of Copilot now being able to access other LLMs. So was
Yeah.
it Claude and things
Yeah.
like that? And at our innovation conference, I think they're going to be talking about there's going to be more collaboration between these tools over time.
Oh, it's if anybody's gone in and they really want the time, go and spend and have a look at Satya's blogs and things like that, and some of these things. This new world of I call it business apps, as we would traditionally call it, potentially will be no more. It's going to be agents talking to other agents and using model context protocols and MCP, and agents talking to other agents. I must admit, I even myself, I struggle to get my head around this at times, and trying to experiment with it and try and get, try it. It is, this vision for 2030 and beyond, and how quickly this thing's moving. On the one hand, is scary. On the one hand, it's exciting. But dare I say, each industry has got to look at it in its own context. What does it mean for them and their business? How will it evolve? How do you apply it? How do you get the benefits? Whether it's grow your business efficiency, whether it's dare I say, utilize this technology to support how you do your job and become more efficient, more productive. That's the ultimate challenge that we're all aiming for. Yeah.
Wonderful, Tom. Thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate you're
No,
incredibly busy. You
Yep.
global heading all over the globe these days with your knowledge. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cheers, Mark.
Thank you. There you go. There's Tom Cadman. If you want to check out his blog, you can find that on Crimson's website, crimson.co.uk. Head to the blog. You'll find Tom's article about loyalty and the use of AI. We'll be back again very soon with the Digital Lounge. Until then, we'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.